This is the Ascend Your Success podcast, and here's your host, Wyatt Reed.
What's going on, guys? My name is Wyatt Reed, and this is the Ascend Your Success podcast. And today I get to interview my friend Sean Young, who's going to be teaching us how to take back our time as entrepreneurs utilizing virtual assistants. Sean, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this, man. Would you just introduce yourself and kind of tell us what you do?
Sure, man. First of all, Wyatt, thanks for having me as a guest. And guys, I'm Sean Young, as he mentioned. I'm a real estate investor. I specialize in wholesaling, creative strategies, and I teach students all over the country how to do the same thing. But my really bread and butter is helping folks scale their companies with the usage of virtual assistants, which is through my company as well.
That's awesome, man. So just for those that don't know, what is a virtual assistant in the first place?
Well, a virtual assistant is pretty much just kind of how it sounds. It's an assistant that's located in a virtual location. So virtually just basically means they're not physically located in your home office. So you could have a virtual assistant that lives next door that's doing virtual work for you, so to speak. So it's just an employee who's not physically located in your location.
Heck yeah, man. Well, how do we go about utilizing them? Because, obviously there are some new people in here, but there are also people who've been doing it a little bit. So kind of tell us, when is a good time to start utilizing a VA? Is it right off the bat, or is it after a couple of deals? And like, what kind of roles would they be playing?
Great question. Well, this is the first thing that I would have you ask yourself is how much time do you have available? How much money do you have available? Those would be determining factors that'll let you know how, where you should focus your energies and efforts. A virtual assistant is somebody who's going to give you back a lot of your time, for one, but they are going to need direction. They are going to need managing. They are going to need some training. They're going to need all that stuff in place as well. So if you are just getting started in our industry, you've never made a phone call to try to, have a discussion with the seller to see if you can help them out with the situation. You've never talked to a closing attorney or anything like that, then I would definitely say, get you some reps in yourself, get some practice with it, and get a VA as soon as possible from that point.
Yeah, man, I 100% agree with you. I was actually doing a discovery call the other day with some guys, and they had not done a single deal yet, and they were already hiring. They had like 2 VAs and an acquisitions manager. I'm like, how can you train these guys if you don't even know, what to do in the first place? So absolutely 100%, man. Well, I think it's important to note also that it doesn't even really just have to be in real estate. It can be in just about anything. I mean, I'm hiring an executive assistant through you guys right now who's going to offload a whole lot of admin tasks and things like that, right? But when I first started real estate and I got a couple of deals under my belt, dude, one of the first things, that was my very first hire, was a virtual assistant who would take calls for me, right?
Yep.
But what other roles can these guys play?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've got virtual assistants that can handle cold calling, of course, any type of tasks, sending out agreements, running numbers for you, following up, of course, anything in the admin space, they can knock that out, of course, 100%. We've also got acquisitions and disposition managers as well. But just like Wyatt mentioned, but I do want to make a small little nuance on that. If you are getting started, and you're like that gentleman that he just mentioned that has hired an acquisitions manager, cold callers, and all that good stuff, make sure that they are through a company that trains those VAs for you. Because like Wyatt said, you don't really have a clue what to necessarily train, what to monitor, what to manage. So you need some help with that. So don't waste or don't throw a bunch of money at problems thinking that that'll just solve it. Like, hey, I've got the team. It's going to work out now. You got to have a way to make it work.
Right, 100%. So, I talk me through the process. Let's just say that I have some things that I need to offload, and I want to get in a virtual assistant. What does that even look like? How does the hiring process look? And you guys train your guys. So how does all that work?
Absolutely. Well, if you're going through us, guys, which I would love for you to come through us, the way that it works with us is you go to our website, you take a look at the website, and you sign up for a virtual assistant. Once you sign up, you're going to have what's called a discovery call. That discovery call is going to be between you and our team. We'll sit down, figure out exactly what do you need to do, what tasks do you need that VA to accomplish, what tools and systems are you currently using, do you need recommendations for systems and tools, and then from that point, we'll take that information and we'll match your needs to the skill sets of one of our virtual assistants, which is about a 3 to 4 day process. After that, you have what's called an onboarding session with your VA, which is your virtual assistant, your virtual assistant's manager, and your virtual assistant's trainer. So you'll know exactly what to do from that meeting. How do you pay your VA each week? Who do you contact if you have any questions? What if you can't reach your VA today, which will never happen, but what if you can't reach your VA? Who do you call? Because right now, guys, I'm sure you've heard the horror stories. I hire a VA, I train them, I spend all my energy and time, spend 2 or 3 weeks training them, then a week or two later, they're gone. Or they call me and tell me that a family member has died. And then next week, another member has died, and then they're out of here. So I've heard all these horror stories, guys. So those are, we have provisions in place to prevent those things from happening.
That's awesome, man. 100%. So I could be in and out and have a VA within a week or so.
Absolutely.
You guys, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because usually it takes a long time to go through and vet these guys and then interview these guys and then pick one and get them ready. Usually it's a couple week thing, but man, it's awesome how you've already streamlined that and got it all set up for people and ready to go.
Indeed.
You
guys
sure.
should be focusing on making money, not doing those VA tasks, there's nothing wrong with those tasks, but your company deserves you to be focusing on other things.
Yeah, 100%. So take us through some common questions or common concerns for VAs and things like that.
Well, one of the big concerns is can they speak English, and where are they located? How do I reach them if I need to get a hold of them? Those are some of the main challenges and concerns, and I can tell you guys those are valid. But I want you to understand this. We are in a day and age that I'm sure all of your listeners and viewers can recognize this or can relate. If you call customer service for, let's say, AT&T, Verizon, Xfinity, whatever services you guys have got out there, it's going to most likely be someone on the other end from another country. So even me at first, when I first got started, I was reluctant to hire a virtual assistant because I said, hey, no one can do what I do as good as me, and they're going to fumble the ball. They're going to have an accent. Like, all these were just things that were in my head. They were all in my head. So I want you guys to rest assured that, don't let accents or things of that nature get in your way of not taking the step to bring on other teammates, because that's not the issue nowadays.
Yes, 100%. And I think it's also important to note, just something from my experience is these guys are a part of your team. And what I often see is just a lack of leadership and communication and treating them like they are a part of the team. That's something that I had to learn along the way. I didn't have anybody really telling me or coaching me on like how to communicate, how to be a good leader in my business and things like that. So what I found was that when I started meeting and having, texting, hey, good morning, how's it going? Have a good weekend, things like that. It really made them feel like a part of the team, and having them on team meetings, having just coaching them in general. Like, even though you guys coach these guys and train them up, if you hire a VA, they should be a part of your team, and they should always be a part of anything that you do, right?
100%. Yeah, you hit it right on the head, man. They are your VA, but you mentioned something that was key. You said you had to learn how to become a better leader, and there's other folks that come on as clients, and we're not gonna grill them on being a better leader. We're just gonna say, hey, what do you need, and what are you kind of lacking right now? And what you just said is crucial. Having that communication on a consistent basis, so that they can really fit into your team's culture, feel like they're a part of the team. They're not just someone that's out on an island by themselves. So we actually promote and coach that with even our clients. So your VAs should be communicating with you each morning. good morning, sir or ma'am, I'm here, ready to go to work. At the end of the day, they should be providing you with a daily report, not a report once a week. Every single day, you'll get an end of the day report, at least with our folks. And that's what I suggest, that even if you don't go through a company like mine, when you do look for a company, those are some of the key things that you should be looking for that'll help you have success. Having those daily reports, having that constant communication, and having a team that's actually helping you manage your VA, which is what we pretty much act as, the HR between you and your VA.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What would be some advice that you would give to a newer investor who is really on the fence about getting a VA or hiring someone here locally? Like, what are there any pros and cons to that?
Yeah, the I would just say make sure that like Wyatt said, he mentioned something that's again very important, which is being a leader or having tasks for your VA. You might not, you may say to yourself, you know what, I don't want to make cold calls, but I don't even know how to cold call on a mass level. So make sure that are you know what you need, you know what you want, and you screen companies. Don't
Mm,
just take the first VA that comes up. You want to screen a few companies, make sure that they're a good match for what you're looking for as a client.
yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. So, before we get into the outro, or how do I reach out to you, I just kind of want to pass the mic over to you and ask you if there anything that these guys need to know or understand, or something that I haven't asked you yet that you'd like to relay to these guys about virtual assistants.
Sure thing, man. Before I speak exactly towards virtual assistants, this has to do with your real estate business in general. What you guys want to do is you want to, once you get your goal set and you've got your target in your lines, go take action right away. Like one of our mentors, Tom Kroll, says, you want to take massive imperfect action on a constant basis, failing your way forward. So you don't want to wait for all the lights to be green between here and your destination, which is your goal, before you start. You want to go as soon as that first light is green. So that's the same thing, similar to a virtual assistant. You don't want to think you have to have it all figured out before you hire a virtual assistant. As you bring on a virtual assistant, you will understand and become a better leader yourself through the repetition of being an actual leader versus it being some philosophical concept that you're conceiving. You'll actually get a chance to do it, and your team will grow and you'll grow in the process with a good company that's there to ensure that you guys are growing.
Yes, that is 100%, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I'll be honest with you, like the past 2 months, Tom's been really pushing me to get an executive assistant, and
Mm-hmm.
I've just been putting it off because of everything in my own head and in my own way,
Yep.
trying to decide local or virtual, and man, he's been pushing me to do it, and we finally put our foot down and done it, man, and it's great. I for anybody that's thinking about doing it, what I would suggest is, and this really helped me make that final decision, was take 1 week and
Mm-hmm.
take a notebook with you wherever you go, whatever you do, and write down all the things that you do that essentially somebody else could do. Like, if it's not generating revenue, you need to be able to offload that onto somebody else, right?
Facts. Facts, man. I like that. I like that approach, man. Take some time off, evaluate what you're doing on a daily basis, because it's all about time. You've got, money or time, and sometimes when we have the money, we can waste it thinking
Mm.
that the money will solve the problem. No, you got to have a strategy on how you're going to use that money and use your time. So, I think that's a great idea.
Well, dude, I really appreciate you being here and sharing all this with us. How can we work with you? How can we get our VA through you? How can we find you in general?
Absolutely. Guys, I would love to hear from anyone who would like to reach out to me. I'm all over social media. I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, any of the social media platforms. You can find me at Nationwide Real Estate Mastery. And to get a professionally trained, managed, and monitored virtual assistant, go to reiworldsolutions.com. Let me know that you heard me here with Wyatt, and I'll make sure I take great care of you.
Heck yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this again. I love working with you and collaborating with you. It's always a good time, and I know, like, you and your family, man, y'all are good people. So
Yes,
anybody
sir.
listening, like, I highly recommend Sean Young, man, for sure. So thank you guys for listening. hey, if you heard something that you liked and you're interested in maybe learning how we do what we do, go to ascendyoursuccess.com. Let's have a call. Let's see if you're a good fit for us, if we're a good fit for you. And until next time, thanks for listening.